because nobody wants to hire the 10th person that says I'm hardworking.
Hardworking, right? When you're not.
Because yeah,
Because, you know.
because I actually seen you work somewhere else and you're a lazy piece of shit. But no, I just kidding. I just kidding. I just kidding.
Thank you for coming back to episode number 2 of Barback to Bartender. Today's podcast, we have Gabe again, our professional Vegas bartender, and we talk about the trials and tribulations of the hiring process, right? Getting an interview, what to do in an interview, how to interview, and a lot of successes or successful tips that we've had in our process of being a bartender, a barback, or any other. It's funny is that we actually open up with a story of Gabe's nightmare situation where he completely failed the interview, like everything you learned about, but ended up actually landing a job, landing his position. Have a listen. Make sure you guys check it out. Save it on your podcast. If you're not part of the podcast, have subscribed. Make sure you subscribe on our YouTube, on our Spotify, whatever it is you listen to. Onto the episode.
This is basically a story about what not to do in an interview process. Just I was super unprepared. I was not ready for the interview, but luckily I was able to get the job just because someone recommended me. So that's when we're gonna go down the line or further down into the episode talking about having people, in your back pocket helping you out get a certain spot, right? So basically, I came into the interview unprepared and so late, and the whole thing was I was working at another restaurant, and I had this interview like 4:30 something around that time, right? I asked my boss at my other job, hey, look, I have something really important to come in. So I got off early. But the thing is, by the time I got home, I was rushing. I was literally like, I was in and out of the shower. Like, I was still basically dry when I was coming out of the shower. But got out of the shower, I got dressed, and I like rushed over to the interview because I knew I was going to be late. And so as soon as I got there, I remember looking in the car and looking everywhere like a freaking maniac, trying to find my resume. I did not even have my resume with me, and I was like, "Oh my God!" I had it printed out and I had it on my dining table, and I was like, "Damn!" And like I remember at the time, like I was trying to text my roommate. I'm like, "Hey, can you drop this off real quick?" And they're like, as soon as I sent that text, Gia comes up to me and she's like, "Hey, are you ready for your interview?" And I was like, "Yeah." So like, I was talking to her. She was asking me a lot of like, in a sense, now is not really that many curveball questions, but at the time they were curveballs to me, just because
Yep.
she was asking me about like different liquors, different like spirits and stuff like that. And at the time, I didn't have like the knowledge that she was expecting, right?
Right.
And so I remember after she asked me those questions and she's like, "Hey, do you have a resume, by the way?" And I said, um, "I'm really, really sorry. I forgot my resume at home." And like she looks at me and she gave me like her death stare, right? Like the death stare
Yes.
that she gives you when you
Yeah.
when you messed up. She gave me a death stare. She's like, you came to this interview very unprepared and unprofessional. And I'm like, I know, I'm really, really sorry. What happened was I just got off work and I had to go home and get ready really fast. I didn't think I was gonna. And I think she
Right.
saw that in a sense because she
Right.
saw like the like me putting in the effort of actually coming in and trying to show
Right.
up. And ultimately, like I remember her talking to my friend, the one that recommended me,
Hmm.
and she was like, he came into the interview. It was a terrible interview, but I see the effort that he's putting in, and I see that he could actually work. And so yeah, no, the rest was history. But I just remember just like that death stare. They killed me. They killed me. That was like the thing that literally I was like, I went home. I was driving back home, and I was like, "Ain't no way I got this job. Ain't no fucking way I got this job." I just remember. I was like so like I just felt so defeated because it was like eight. Like I've always been to like my interviews. Like I've always tried to be there early or on time, like at least a couple minutes before, right?
Right.
And looking clean, having my resume printed out, having my portfolio, like my little, what's it called, like that book,
Hmm.
having everything like perfect, right? But this day, like it was just something. I just felt like everything was going wrong, and I ultimately left my resume on the table. And I like looked at it when I got back home, and I just like I grabbed it, I crumpled it up, and just threw it because I was so pissed with myself.
That's great. And I understand that face that she gives you. Like that face, it's like
Yeah.
disappointment. Like, fucking serious, bro.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, yeah, exactly.
And she's like
Exactly.
103 pounds, guys. Like she's not big.
Yeah, she was like a like 5'2", 5'3" something woman. She was like
Yeah.
super tiny, but like if she gave you that look, you knew that you fucked up,
You
honestly.
know you fucked
It,
up. That's
it was,
crazy. How
but
did
I
you
just,
get that job?
oh my God, I know. I honestly didn't think I had the job at all. It was just like a terrible, like, I was just like, man, this is honestly the worst interviewing. All right, this is the worst interview I've ever done in my life. And I remember like even going back down the line, like after she hired me and like working one night, it was just like a really long night. And she told me good job, right? And I was like, hey, so remember my interview? She was like, how could I forget? And then she was like, I was like, man, what happened? Like I felt like I interviewed so terribly and I did a horrible job during the interview. And why did you hire me? And she's like, I saw the effort that you put in, at least. And she was like,
Right.
yeah, and you had a good recommendation from his name was Victor. I don't know if you remember
Oh
Victor.
yeah, yeah, Victor. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, Victor was the one that got me the job over there at Sundry, and he was like, "Yeah, I liked Victor's recommendation to you, and
Right.
you look like you like to put in effort into work, and I can see that now, right?"
Right.
So, I
Right.
mean, in all reality, it did work out, and
Right.
going into like the interviewing process, that's a good thing to always have when you go into
Yeah.
interview is having someone like that referred you or is looking out for
Yeah.
basically trying to get you into the place, right?
Yeah. And
So,
it hurts. It never hurts to have someone in your
mhm,
back pocket, right? I'm not saying you can
mhm,
use them, but a reference in this industry is always a recommendation is always a lot
mhm,
better than not having one. Whether
mhm,
it's from a server to the host, doesn't matter. Someone that already will say you do have what it takes to be here, and I think would be a good fit. That I think that helps the managers kind of do that. And I think you just being honest, like you just literally saying, I fucked up. Like I just came out of my job. I took a shower. I didn't even dry my look at my hair. It's still wet. Like I don't have a shoe
yeah, right.
on. I have no resume. Like, and just showing that hustle, right? That's what they look for.
Mhm,
People that are gonna work or just not lie, drop their ego, and just
mhm,
do what it takes to get shit done. I think that
mhm,
that definitely does show a lot, and that's something the managers would look for, because they're looking for
mhm,
that. Versus like, imagine if you just lied, like, oh, it's in my
mhm.
car, and then what? And you're lying. Now she knows you're a liar, and no one's gonna hire a liar, right? It's like you want something
Exactly.
honest. So I think that's great. I did not know that. That's hysterical.
Dude, I just like I remember that like level of stress I've had, and I was just like freaking out just because also like if you have a recommendation from somebody, you don't
Yeah.
want to let that person down, because at the
Yeah.
end of the day, that person is putting their name on the line for you, and they're saying like, look, this person is a reflection of me, and I want if you like me, then you'll like that person, right?
Right.
So, just having that like stress of like everything all combined together, it just terrified me that day.
Yeah. Yeah. I
What
mean,
about you?
watching if it helps to have a resume, it
Mhm,
helps to be dressed and dry, it helps to be on time. Doesn't mean you're going to get
mhm.
the job. So it's also,
Yeah.
people who do you know,
Mhm.
just in being honest, being comfortable inside that interview, it takes you a long way. It's fucking awesome,
Yeah.
dude.
Dude, he was fucking terrible.
That's great. That beats anyone's. I think that's gonna be anyone's story. And you still got the job. And you still got,
Yeah,
yeah,
I
yeah.
did.
And you
I
did,
did.
and you
But it
did.
was actually, it was definitely, I think it was meant to be also,
Right.
Sometimes there's also like, it comes down to, I don't know if everybody's like spiritual and stuff, but like sometimes it's just like, the universe is gonna put you in a spot where you feel you fit the best, right? And then
Yep.
you can kind of go from there. Just because that's the reason why where you and I met,
Right.
and then also like it just became the spot where we learned a lot. So,
Yeah.
sometimes if you are prepared, like how Pete was saying, if you are prepared with, you are there on time, you are dressed properly, you have your resume, you are like dressed to the nine, like everything is like perfectly, and you don't get the job, maybe it just wasn't the place for you.
Right.
So just don't ever get discouraged about not getting a job,
Right.
because there's always going to be a spot for you that does benefit from your.
That's for damn sure. Like, it's
So,
look at it like trying to get a like it's like getting they call it auditions, right? Like you're trying to get,
mhm,
especially bartenders, like you have to perform, and
yeah,
getting a role in like a movie is very difficult. And it's the same thing in this field. Like it comes down to, do you have the skills it takes? Do they like you? And having someone there
mhm,
that knows the person that's hiring is very important. I was dressed. I remember I met Luis in the call. I would say cattle call, whatever call. We were in some restaurant, some hotel. I'm not sure. And I met
Mhm.
Luis. He was talking to me. Everyone else was like quiet, not talking to each other. Luis was like so extroverted. He's like, "Hey, what's up, buddy?"
Yeah.
I started talking. Hey, shit, what's up, man? You're barback on barback. Let's go. Good luck. All right, cool. But then like I met Gia, and like she straight up just asked basic questions. Where
Mhm.
we were before, this and that, and then she's like, okay, well, this is a lot more different than this. We're a little bit more on the cocktail side. Do you know how to clarify lime juice? I was like, what? What the fuck does that even mean? Do you know how to make
Yeah.
milk punch? What? No, I have not done chemistry in a long time. I was like, I remember telling her, I was like, I move kegs, I clean, I get glassware, and then, I step in if I need to. And she was like, well, you're gonna need a lot more than that. And then
Oh
she
man.
still hired me. But I guess, yeah,
Yeah.
same thing. I was being honest. I was like, you make clarified lime juice? I could have said, yeah, I do. And then if she said, well, then how do you do it? And I'd be like,
Yeah.
what you do is, what happened, what happened was,
Yeah,
yeah,
right.
you get caught, So
Mhm.
don't overstep your knowledge. Just be honest and go with it. Show your personalities. Your
Mhm.
personality always flies.
Yeah,
In that.
most definitely. Even just like that's like a key thing I feel like a lot of people overlook when they are interviewing. I mean, I feel for any position, right? Not even just bartending and bar backing, restaurant work or service industry.
Right.
I think it's a lot of people they think that you could lie your way through an interview, So even if you were to get hired after that, and then that manager says like, "Oh well, that person already knows, so why do I have to, kind of teach them?" You're
Right.
kind of lost, You're gonna be lost, and you're just not gonna be prepared for what is to come, basically.
Yeah.
So yeah, just be honest. At the end
Just
of the
be
day,
honest.
like if they
Yep.
see that you're honest and they just see that you're willing to learn and you're a hard worker and you're trying to put yourself in a better situation, they're more than likely gonna hire you just off of that. Just because they want someone that's honest and they want someone that's willing to put in the effort.
Right.
That's basically it.
It's very true. It's very, very
Yeah.
true. So let's say another one I did, I think maybe last year. Last year,
Mhm.
I went for like Zook. I think it was called not Zook, Zouk. Not
Yeah,
Zook.
Zook.
There's another one. It was
Oh,
the other.
IU?
I can't even tell you.
Oh.
I can't even tell you. So it was like a nice restaurant that turns
Mhm.
nightclub type thing. Everyone wants to work there. It's one of those like prestigious
Mhm.
Asian fusion restaurants. I don't know, whatever it is. Um, but I remember I probably didn't get a job because I was so fixated on just bar backing that I didn't want to do anything else. So I went,
Mm.
with the thought of going behind the bar. And this is again, it's a place that a lot of people want to work. You make good money. It's high volume, and very
Mhm.
high ticket. I can't remember the name of it. Anyway,
Is it Tao?
Tao.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's one of those. I forget what the group they have is called, but it's Tao.
Mhm.
Yeah, good job. Thanks. Very fancy. I think I had a great interview. Same thing. My interview tip is if I don't know, I just make jokes out of it. Like if I don't know something, I'll
Mhm.
pretend. But if they ask me a question, like so do you know? I'm like I absolutely have no idea what you're talking about. And then I'll give them like an answer that's real. Like but I'll try and I'll learn
Yeah.
because I don't know. But I think I had a great
Mhm.
interview. And then she's like, "Are you interested in maybe being a busser for a little bit? Or not a busser, a server's assistant." I think I was like,
Mhm.
honestly, I really don't want to deal with food. That's like what I said. She's like, ah, all right, well, thanks though. You know what I mean? And for me,
Yeah.
because I just knew my preference, I really didn't want to. But I think if there's someone that's newer and they give you that option to take those positions,
Mhm.
get in the door. If they're like, oh, we don't have this right now, just get in the door.
Yeah.
Whatever it is, and you could always move your way up. For you started in Bloody Marys, right? When you started with Bloody Marys,
Yeah.
it became like a bar lead, like at the end of the day. So it's like,
Yeah.
you never know where it can take you. Just get in the door. Um,
Mhm.
yeah, I definitely missed out on that one, but that was okay. I'm all right.
Yeah. Sometimes I feel like it's just you kind of have to trust the process in a sense. I mean also, like if you don't take a job that like you feel like is kind of just taken away from your worth. But at the
Right.
same time, also you gotta it's kind of like in a sense of like trying to gauge it between knowing your worth and also dropping that your ego
Mm,
and being humble in yourself.
true.
It's gonna. I feel like a lot of people have that good judgment. Just don't be putting yourself in a place where you think that you're not gonna progress at all.
Right.
You know.
Right. That's true.
So
Yeah.
yeah, just finding that like sweet spot, and then you'll
Yeah.
be pretty much set. Honestly, at the end of the day, just
Yeah.
because sometimes some of the employers they do know what they're talking about, and they
Right.
want to, they see that in you, but they think that you need to be refined just a little bit more.
Right.
That's the only thing, and I feel like that's what a lot of people need to hear at the end of the day, right?
Right. No matter what,
Mm,
they always
yeah.
want. Let me see. You already talked about that. Yeah, that story kind of answered all the questions.
Oh, also, when you guys are doing interviews, honestly, like we said, honesty is always going to be very key, and then being on time and then dressing the part.
Right.
But also, is just the way you interview overall. You know, most of the time you want to be clear and when you talk, but I mean, there's going to be times where you're going to stutter or you're going to be stumped on a question and you're going to stumble
Right.
around your words. Use words or say things that differentiate yourself from other people. You know,
Hmm.
because everybody says, like if you were to go into an interview and you would listen to like 10 people interview, and I bet you 7 out of 10 of those people are gonna say they're hardworking, they're fast learners. What else do they say?
Fast learners and reliable is one.
Yeah,
Okay,
reliable.
stuff like that.
Mm,
Yeah.
yeah. So just like find different keywords of just saying in interviews. Like for example, like what I say, like when a person is interviewing me, and I usually say the 3 words that describe me are gonna be adaptable, resourceful, and impact driven. Those
Hmm.
are just different ways of saying exactly what those other three are. The
Right.
other three are just hardworking, et cetera, et cetera. But these ones
Right.
are just going to sound a little bit different as to make you stand out from everybody else.
Oh yeah.
Because nobody wants to hire the 10th person that says I'm hardworking.
Hardworking. Right. When you're not.
Because yeah,
Because,
because I actually seen you work somewhere else and you're a lazy piece of shit. But no, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I'm just
I've seen
kidding.
you
But
sleeping before.
yeah, we saw you sweeping and there's crumbs everywhere still in the damn restaurant. So what are you actually doing?
Yeah, man. It helps you
But
stand
it's
out.
just, yeah, just having like those little things, like it's just a different verbiage just from what everybody else is using. It will make you stand out a lot. And then
Yeah.
also just having a conversation with the interviewer. At the end of the
Right.
day, like, if you go into like a casting call where there's 50 people, you really think that person's gonna remember you if you just answer like the cookie cutter questions? Like you're gonna
Right.
have to, make yourself stand out. Like just tell them, crack a little joke here and there. Don't obviously don't say anything like super, super out of pocket or
Right.
crazy. But like, throw yourself a little personality in there just because at the end of the day, it is a very personable job.
Right.
They're not gonna hire someone that's like I said, like just super boring and bland. Just I'm gonna answer the questions and that's it.
Right.
You
It's the
live.
questions. Ask.
Yep.
I mean, I always feel as interviewer or interviewee,
Mhm.
they got to ask me questions that show their personality. Like not just
Mhm.
like how much money am I going to make? 'Cause sure, that's important. Like that comes down at the end, but like what are our busiest days here? What
Mhm.
do you think is the biggest things you sell? Like seasonally.
Mhm.
Do you guys do seasonal drinks? Is it rotating menu? Things like
Mhm.
that. Or like, did you're the manager here. Did you work for this company? Like have the
Mhm.
conversation with the person. Like, and also learn about them too. Because when you ask them about something, they want to show
Mhm.
their expertise. It's like they want to show their skills. It's that they're a manager for a reason and they have this
Mhm.
experience for a reason, and it'll help you stand out by just that back and forth. That back and forth is huge in an interview
Mhm.
versus like, you have any questions for me? No. Well, next. It's like no,
Yeah.
it said you might have been good, but you might not be remembered. So
Mhm.
how do you stay some remembered? Um, yeah, man.
That's honestly a really good question. Asking the manager, "Hey, did you like start off here and did you move the chain as well?"
Yeah.
I've never used that question, but I think I'm gonna start using that one.
Yeah, like if especially if it's like a place
Mhm.
that's been in business for a while, it's like, oh,
Mhm.
you're a manager now. Did you start here? Where did you
Mhm.
start from? Stuff like that.
Yeah.
Them. They sometimes they open up. It's like, oh, thank God, I don't have to be the one answering the questions. I can talk a little bit, and we can,
Mhm.
So that's definitely one thing I would do. Yeah, it's kind of like the system. Like, what's their system like?
Mhm.
What time you open at what time do you want us to be here? Things that
Mhm.
might be, schedule stuff. But then I always keep money out of it until they're ready to say, you know,
Yeah,
you
you're
know,
hired.
it's never the first thing. Yeah. Then it's like, oh, all right, that's all right, whatever.
Mhm.
I don't care.
Yeah, it's also a lot of things that to differentiate yourself is those questions that you ask, you know.
Yeah.
Um, two questions that I usually ask all the time when I am in the interview process is, or when they ask me, "Hey, what's a question that you have for me?" One is I always ask them, "What's the bar philosophy?" You know, just because I want to
Oh,
see like how is the bar, like what are they trying to accomplish in a sense.
right.
Like, is it gonna be like a craft cocktail bar? Is it gonna be more of a turn and burn bar? Is it more of like, in between? It's not really focused on drinks, it's more focused on the food. To see what they like, say about the bar and how it's a function,
Interesting.
like how it functions. And then another question is what I say is imagine if this interview went well
Right.
and it's a later down, it's like a year from now. What are some things that I would be doing for you to say this was a good decision?
Hmm.
So it's kind of like they're kind of just already thinking about like, what if this interview does go well, and like, what do I want to see from this person? That's basically like, what do they want? What are they seeing? What do they want to see from an employee?
Right.
From what do they want
Yep.
to see? So they basically would say like, oh, like I would like to see really good hospitality, good teamwork. I would want them to know the drinks like the back of their hand, or
Right.
I would want them to be like the best barback and the restaurant that's able to change everything, be very adaptable, very fast. Just have everything in a very good state of flow for the bar itself. So
Right.
they're most likely going to answer that question with like things that they're looking for, and
Right.
that's also subconsciously like that kind of triggers them to say, well, maybe this interview did go good,
Right.
and go from there.
Yeah, that's a great one. That's a really good one.
Hmm.
Like almost, yeah, like what are your expectations of me? It's like
Hmm.
what do you expect from me and down the line, So
Yeah.
again, that's a question that just most people aren't going to ask.
Yeah.
Most people are not going to ask that question. So, um, what do you think? I don't want to say what are the biggest mistakes people do? Because you kind of explained it in an opening story.
Yeah, basically coming in late and forgetting their resume. Um,
I can say one mistake that I think I've maybe made from nervousness was talking too
mhm.
much. Because I can
Okay.
like when I get nervous, I can talk and I can
Hmm.
just keep filling instead of enjoying silence sometimes. And just
Hmm.
when you're confident, you just speak enough. But if you're newer and you're nervous, which is going to happen, and that's why it's really important to
Hmm.
go out and interview a lot and just apply and interview and interview. Maybe you'll land one, but it
Hmm.
doesn't mean it's over. But like it's a skill. Like learning how to interview is a skill, and the more you do it,
Yeah.
the not the I don't want to say the less nervous it is. It's just you become a little bit more confident in what you're going to say, what you're going to do.
Another thing that we kind of brushed up on was lying.
Yep.
Just be honest, that's all that really matters. Going into interview, like I would say try looking as clean as and fresh as possible. If you like, let's say if tomorrow you have an interview, try getting a haircut today,
Right.
or if you know that your haircut is like still good, it doesn't look too straggly, then that's okay. But
Right.
just don't go into like the place that's like super like beard grown long. It's just like sticking out like wires. Your hair
Right.
is a mess. Everything. Just try going into the interview like looking as best as possible, and then like walk like you got $1 million in your pocket.
Hell yeah.
Like always like just have that confidence. Just don't go into the interview like looking like a wreck.
Right.
I mean, you might be as nervous as like your palms are sweaty, you're shaking, but as long as you walk with that confidence, like you gotta fake it till you make it. You just
Yep.
gotta. I always tell myself that like every time I go into the interview, I'm like, I'm walking in here like I don't even need the job. Like this is just something that I don't even need. I mean, in all reality, like we need a job just because we gotta pay
Right.
bills and stuff. But act like you don't like act like just so confident to the point where it's not cocky, but you just feel like, you know what, this is meant for me, and nobody's gonna stop me from getting this job right now.
Right.
And then it goes from there.
Yeah, that's for sure. The confidence is key. Walking around, presenting yourself, and again, like it also can go two different ways. Where it's like we also said, don't lie, right? So also be confident, but know your boundaries. Like don't act like you do know. How many times I've seen people test, audition for a bartender and completely butcher the simplest drinks because they've never poured a drink before, except for maybe a beer, maybe like a shot. Because then when you watch them make a cocktail or even like a simple martini, you can tell that like they made it through the first process. Now comes the
Hmm.
audition, and now they look like a fool because how don't you know these simple things? But you probably said, that you can. Um,
Yeah.
Recipes are recipes. Cocktails are cocktails. They can vary from place to place, but those are still classic cocktails, right? It's
Hmm.
maybe with a little bit of a twist, no pun intended, here and there.
Yeah.
So know your role. Don't act like you
Hmm.
do everything. Yeah, and just be open to that conversation for sure.
And there's even confidence when it comes down to like even telling them that you don't know.
Yep.
If you say, you know what, I don't know, but I am willing to learn, or I am willing to do whatever it takes to get to the point where you're at. I mean, as long as that you show that confidence, it's just saying, oh, I don't know,
Right.
Because if you just say I don't know, it just kind of looks like you're defeated, basically. But
Right.
having confidence in saying I don't know, but I could do this, just it
Right.
levels you up in the interview process as well.
Absolutely. And the willingness to learn, that's all people want, man.
Mhm.
Someone's eager to learn, someone's eager to get it done. Um, and don't ask about money, like especially tips. And
Oh
this
yeah, don't do that.
don't talk about tips, it's
Mm,
that's definitely a thing that you want, you focus on. Yeah, but like just let it do its
mhm.
work on its own, because that's like a whole different beast, depending on where you work, you know.
Yeah, even honestly, like I've been in a couple interviews where because I don't ask about tips or anything like that or compensation, but
Right.
I've been in interviews where the person that is interviewing me is like they ask me, "What do you think the compensation is, or what's your expectations for compensation?" Right? And I just kind of just throw them a ballpark, like our hourly wage is going to be 12, so
Right.
I just say $12 plus tips, and
Right.
then they if they want to keep going, they'll probably ask you like, "What is your expectations for tips a night?" And then just go from there. I mean, also look at the plays because you're not going to
Right.
be working at like a little smaller bar and be like, "Oh, I want $500."
Right. Right.
If you wanted $500, you should apply for a different place. But
Different place.
like if it's like you kind of know like the place and where it's located, you can see like okay, maybe like 100 to 200 bucks a night, and then just
Right.
depending on where you go, just just kind of gauge the restaurant as well wherever you're working at.
Got it.
So that's what I would say.
Well, speaking of this, let's go this off the cuff right now is what is the difference? This is a
Hmm.
Vegas thing, right? This is a Vegas thing because I've never seen it my entire life, and I've met maybe one or two. But what's a model barback and a model bartender versus a regular barback and a regular bartender? It kind of sounds like it is, but what as
Hmm.
your words, what do you think it is or no is?
Um, it's a little bit. I think it's a little superstitious. I
Hmm.
Most of the time when a place is asking for a model bartender or model bar back, it's gonna be more of like a I would say superstitious restaurant just because it would probably be like a club, or there would be like a restaurant that's connected to a club, or a restaurant that's in the same group as like a club basically. Um Most of the time like those restaurants that have model is just 'cause they're connected to, or they're in the same hospitality group as another
Hmm.
club, but it's just basically a good looking um
Gotcha.
bar back or bartender.
So it's whatever their fit of their place is. So like they want
Mm,
a model that's literally like a model.
yeah.
They have to they have to make weight. Like, I don't know.
Oh,
Stuff
yeah,
like
they don't
that.
do that anymore. Actually,
Wait,
they don't do the weight thing anymore.
they used
I
to.
th- yeah, they used to. They used to do that at the like especially at the beach clubs. You have to go in and wait. You have to go in on like your swimwear, and you basically like get into your swimwear and you'd be interviewed in like basically like your swim trunks or your bikini, and then just be like, "Okay, well this person fits the part, this person doesn't."
Wow.
Um, I think they got in trouble for a minute. I'm pretty sure they got in trouble for it, so they kind of stopped doing that. They still do like you got to stand in your swimwear if
Hmm.
it's especially if it's a day club, right?
Right.
But yeah, they can't weigh you no more. Because a lot of the times before they used to have like you had to make weight for like those clubs too. So like you had to be healthy And like if they saw that you're like maybe like I think it was like 5 or 7 pounds overweight, they would like not schedule you until you drop that weight.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's how crazy it was, honestly. I
that's
think they stopped doing that like
crazy.
I think in 2000. I don't know, honestly. I'm not gonna lie.
Right.
I think
But
it was early in the
not that
2000s
far
though.
off. That's
Yeah, it
crazy.
was not too long ago. Yeah.
Damn. I was wondering. I
Yeah.
kind of had an inclination of what I never really
Mhm.
researched it, but every time I see it, I'd still apply, like no matter
Mhm.
what. And
Yeah,
then I
might
was
as
like,
well.
whatever. Yeah, whatever. And then I was like, oh, maybe that's what it is. Fuck that. But
Yeah, right.
good for you, good for
Yeah.
you. That's crazy. They used to weigh in. That's so funny. That's
Yeah,
insane.
it was basically like a UFC fight or a boxing match. They're over
Yeah,
here just
yeah,
weighing in
yeah. It's
like this.
like, and
You know?
register too.
Yeah, yeah. No, but yeah, that's what the model thing is. I mean, it's kind of in a sense where I feel like um you and I were pretty good looking people, so I feel like we'd probably
Yeah.
do the model barback. I'm not taking anything away from anybody else. I'm not saying anybody's ugly or anything like that.
Right.
But just if you were gonna do like a modeling bartender or barback position, I would say go in there with your best suit. If you're gonna be for a day club, wear your best swim trunks, and then
Right.
also be as like look as clean as possible. Like if you have a beard, line it up.
Hmm.
If you don't have long hair, trim it up a little bit. Just you don't look a wreck. That's what it
Right.
is. Just go in there looking as best as you possibly
Interesting.
can, and then going from there.
Yeah, train for it. That's
Yeah,
yeah, yeah, yeah. Like, oh, my audition's in 3 months. I got to go on a 12-week cut. That's
exactly. That's what actually a lot of people are doing. They're doing
yeah.
it right now. Like they're starting off in the, or I think audition's gonna start for the nightclubs in December.
Oh
Or
wow.
no, yeah, December. So a lot of people like they cut right now and they try making weight basically.
Right. Got to trim
So
down whatever they can
mhm.
before the holiday. That's awesome. That's
Oh
interesting.
yeah,
That is fucking
yeah.
interesting. That's next level. That's different. That's definitely different.
Mhm.
But hey, you got it. And my friend actually came here when I was bartending. I can't even tell you what year it was, 2004, at a nightclub.
Mhm.
I was there for like 2 years. One of our friends moved out here, and she's still here. I think she lives in Henderson now. Just it's high and by. We were just work friends. We weren't like,
Mhm.
went to her house for a party here and there. But she still bartends. She's out here still working the clubs. I forget which one, but yeah, she's
Mhm.
been out here for a minute now. It's a long time. I
Yeah.
got a buddy too that works, more union, I think, more like union
Mhm.
jobs, in bartending. But yeah, they do great out here, you know.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That's definitely I think one of the highest paying jobs here in Vegas is those clubs in a sense. Like if you were like the one like the model ones,
Right,
it's gonna take a little bit of time and also, right? Just it's a lot of preparation, but I do know a lot of those clubs. I'm not sure about now, just because everything that's going on, like the strip is like kind of slowing down and
right,
club culture is going down just a little bit.
right.
But there's still demand for it, right? But that used to be, or if not, is one of the highest paying bar jobs that you can get. You know, a lot of
Wow.
those people like they just have to work one season to make all their money for the whole year. So
Oh,
it's just maybe
damn.
like, yeah. So
Wow.
like, what is it? The season is just from March all the way up until October, right?
That's
So what is that like 7 months?
7 months. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So if
Three,
you
three
work
to
those seven
10. Yep,
months,
7 months. Yeah.
yeah, you don't have to work the rest of the five for the rest of the year. That
Oh
was like
shit.
that's how good the money is, honestly. So
Yeah, and they say cocktail servers here make bank, like
yeah,
bank money, right? Same
yeah.
thing. Damn.
So
I mean, if you got it,
yeah,
why not
if you got it,
apply? If you got it, apply it. I mean,
mhm.
I'm 5'4", not much of a model. Ice is gonna come
Oh,
get me.
yeah, right. But
So,
yeah,
sick.
if you're able to get into those positions with like I mean there's a lot of like tips and tricks that they use and stuff like that to go
Right,
into modeling, model bar backing, model bartending. Um and if you feel like you can fit it in, if you can lock in and cut that weight and just be able to, you know, uh go in there like in your top shape, then you just shoot for it,
yeah.
nothing's gonna stop you because I feel like that's gonna help you out a lot, especially with money. Because I know people that worked in those restaurant or in those clubs that literally paid their car off within a year and they bought their house. They've done a lot of stuff just
Yeah.
from that type of barbacking and bartending.
And then they're done. No, 7 months. Pretty good. Pretty good gig.
Yeah,
Do you have anything that
exactly.
you want to close up on while we before we sum up for today? Yeah.
Just find the bar that you want to work at, honestly. That's my biggest thing, just because like if you put yourself in a situation where this is not aligned with what you want to do, like if you
All
want
right.
to work, like in a night, like in a club type of bar, like you just want to be really fast, then go shoot for a bar like that. Don't get yourself into a cocktail bar just because you're not gonna really appreciate or like the style of bartending they do. And it's the same thing with like people that go from cocktail bars into clubs. Like you're not gonna have fun in a club because in a club you're just doing like Jack and Cokes and gin and tonics when you are used to making like old fashions and
All
milk
right.
punches and all that stuff. Just find what you like, because at the end of the day, if you don't like the place that you're at, you're just gonna be miserable.
Right. That's true. That's true.
Hmm.
Don't waste your talent. Know your role, man. Know what you like, what
Hmm.
you don't like. Get into it. Would that be the tip of the day, or what do you think your tip of the day is?
Yeah, I would say that's the tip of the day. Find out what you like. Find out what you want to do when you go into bar backing, and especially bar backing. Find out what you want to do when you go into bar backing. Like if you want to become a craft cocktail bartender, if you want to be more of like a club bartender, see what you
Right.
like and what fits with you.
Hell yeah. That's a good tip. Thank
Yes,
you.
sir.
All right, man. We're going to close up this week.
Hmm.
We will see you next week. Oh, I'll say it again. All right, guys. Thank you for coming out. Hopefully that tip of the day helped you. And we'll see you guys next week. Thank you again. My name is Pete. This is Gabe. As
All right,
always,
y'all.
Bar Back to Bartender podcast. We'll catch you soon.
Let's go Dodgers.